So tonight was the go home episode of Raw for this coming Saturday night's main event. Really, when you think about it, like Saturday night's main event, I kind of said this with Backlash, and I'm gonna say it again here. It kind of just crept up on you, and it doesn't even feel like this was a go home show. Like, to me, it doesn't feel like it's a go home show necessarily. Here tonight we got some qualifying matches as well. They were all women qualifying matches. Next week the men's qualifying matches are going to take place, and I'll speak about those matches that we saw tonight, and I'll speak about a horrific injury that we saw as well here tonight. But we kicked off the show with Gunther and Logan Paul. They had sort of a back and forth interaction. To me, this was kind of just placed in this show just to kind of, put into your mind that, maybe this might be the match that you end up seeing, right, on that June 9th episode of Raw, which we know clearly it's not going to be, because that dynamic really want to work out between Gunther and Logan Paul, because by default, Gunther would have to be the babyface in that situation, and I don't think they want a babyface Gunther, at least not, during this time and place, so they're probably not going to do that. But all throughout the night, they kind of teased sort of, Jey Uso, and he has these people surrounding him sort of as a, like a target, so to speak. You have Logan Paul, you have Gunther, you have Seth Rollins, and tonight he faced Braun Breaker in the main event. So you have all these like figures, aiming for Jey Uso as a target. You also have Sami Zayn there. Sami Zayn, we really don't know whether or not this guy is going to actually turn on him or what the deal is with Sami Zayn. But we got Jey Uso and Braun Breaker, and eventually Seth Rollins makes his way down and attacks Jey Uso. This brings out Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn, it's a 2-on-1 situation here. And like I said before, I've been studying Sami Zayn's like characteristics and his movements now ever since that whole, teased heel turn. So I'm just waiting for something to happen here. Of course, Punk comes out. Punk makes the save, and Punk, Sami, and Braun and Seth Rollins end up brawling around the crowd, and that's how Raw goes off the air. Again, I don't see Sami and Punk winning at this Saturday night's main event. I fully predict Seth and Braun are going to win, and it also kind of feels like we're in a holding pattern as far as the World Heavyweight Championship. I feel like we're just kind of waiting for these shows to take place until we get the June 9th episode of Monday Night Raw. That way we can get the whole Gunther and Jey Uso thing. So it feels like kind of we're in a holding pattern, so to speak, right now. And as far as the women's qualifying matches, we had Becky Lynch against Natalya against Roxanne Perez, who was newly a Raw superstar. Becky Lynch was my favorite going into this match. I kind of figured she was going to win, but eventually Lyra Valkyria comes out and attacks Becky Lynch, giving Roxanne Perez an opportunity to get the win over Natalya, and Roxanne Perez is heading to Money in the Bank. There's also a segment in the back with the Judgment Day where Roxanne Perez is introduced as sort of a new member, sort of a new unofficial member. Kind of think of what Sami Zayn was to the Bloodline all those years ago. That's kind of what they're trying to get here. She gave Dominic Mysterio some chicken tenders. Obviously this sits well with everybody but Dominic and Raquel. Obviously Finn, he's trying to stir up shit here with Liv, and Liv currently isn't anywhere to be seen because of her movie role. So I could definitely see a situation down the road where maybe Liv and Roxanne go at it, maybe for Dominic, who knows. But eventually, I think, when the split happens for the Judgment Day, you'll see Finn and Roxanne being, sort of a unit. And then you'll see Dominic and Liv being as well their counterparts, so to speak. And we also got the second women's qualifying match between Kairi Sane, a returning Kairi Sane, Rhea Ripley, and Zoe Stark. Now, early on in this match, there was a very, very nasty, I guess, sequence of action here where Zoe Stark, I don't know what she was trying to do, but she really, really just messed up her, I think, her knee. She really banged up her knee real badly, and it looked fucking scary as hell. That took her out of the match, and essentially now what you have is a one-on-one match between Kairi Sane and Rhea Ripley. And that kind of narrows down who's gonna win in that instance. Rhea Ripley did end up winning, so she is going to go to the Women's Money in the Bank match. And I kind of figured, after Rhea won the match, like, there's going to be a lot of people online very upset over the fact that Rhea, she's getting sort of an opportunity here at the Money in the Bank. But you got to also understand, Rhea Ripley is a massive star in the women's division. They obviously want a massive name in that Money in the Bank match. That way they have some sort of selling point for the Money in the Bank match. So having Rhea in there, I don't think she's going to win. I think it's going to be somebody else. But having Rhea in there definitely doesn't hurt the Money in the Bank match at all. And as far as major happenings on this show, that was basically it. We did get some really good matches as well, such as a tag team match between Penta, AJ Styles, and the Judgment Day. That was really fun as well. But overall, like I said, this really doesn't feel like a go-home show to me. It literally feels like any other episode of Raw. But let me know what you guys think down below. Sound off in the comments down below. And until next time, I will see all of you on the next one.